right, it is Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Smoking Jeremy B. And tonight I have got a plethora of fans representing the NFC North. I also have our favorite Patriots guy, Jordan Davison, in here. And I have Will Vogel, our favorite Panthers/Lions fan. And we're going to go over some stuff. And I'm going to start with Ashton. What do you think of your off-season acquisitions in free agency for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Hmm. I think they're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, Shannon, what about yours? What was your
Uh,
favorite acquisition? What was your favorite what was your worst loss?
uh, losing our tight end and then picking up Orlando Brown Jr. was their best.
Yeah. And I
That's what
think losing your safety was pretty bad too.
yeah, it
I was about to say,
was.
losing both of your
I
safeties was pretty
he
bad.
Von Bell. Yeah, Von
Yeah,
Bell.
look, Brandon's like, "Oof,
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't just lose a safety, you lost Jesse Bates. Come on now.
No,
That
you
isn't
lost
easy
both
to
of your
replace.
starting safeties.
Well, both safeties, Von
I
Bell,
know, but
Jesse
Jesse Bates
Bates,
was the main one. That one
Yeah.
and then
hurts.
Woozy is
That one
coming off a
hurts.
major knee
As a
injury.
fan who's seen safeties of the likes of Louis Delmas get lost to injury, Quandre Diggs leave because Matt Patricia was a butthead,
Yeah.
Darius Slay leave because Matt Patricia's a butthead. You know, I've seen it all. Brandon, what was your key free agency acquisition and what was your key loss
Well,
for the Ravens?
a lot of people like to say Marcus Peters was, but we replaced him with a younger Rocket Sin, being the best DB last year the Raiders had, and he's still very young. So I guess he was the best pickup we had. It wasn't Odell Beckham. The Ravens are a defensive team, so um, we retained that. We're being a defensive team. As far as acquisition, as far as loss, it'd probably be Justin Houston. Not re-signing him, being one of our sack leaders, and given his age, he just was a veteran to help us keep going in our defense. Um, so I mean, we didn't take too big of a loss. He is older. We got some young guys from the draft, and we got some young guys still on the team. Guys come back from injury, so I think Ravens are okay right now. We didn't have too many big losses.
Right. I mean, the
So
biggest thing you didn't lose was
it was
Lamar.
Lamar Jackson.
You
Lamar
can say
Jackson.
what you want, but didn't you lose your backup? Didn't he go
No,
somewhere
we
else?
still have
No.
Tyler Huntley.
Okay.
No.
See, at least you have a capable backup just in case, because you know what I'm talking about. The last couple of years, it hasn't been just a matter of just in case. It's been a matter of when Lamar gets injured, he
Yeah,
had to come in.
yeah. So
So
and
I'm
then
going to go
last
over the
year injury was
Browns.
real.
The Browns lost some key pieces on defense. They didn't lose Myles Garrett, thank God, because if they lost Myles Garrett, they were through, because he's the reason that secondary is able to do okay. Um, I think their biggest loss was that linebacker. What was their linebacker? The big one they lost, the outside linebacker. They had all the pressures opposite Garrett.
Um,
Clowney,
Yeah,
Clowney,
but
Clown.
Clowney only
No,
played like
not Clowney.
40% of
Not
the
Clowney.
games.
Not Clowney.
Johnson.
Johnson. That's the one.
Johnson. Yeah. Where did he
All right.
go?
And now we're going to
I know
go
he
in the
left.
opposite direction. I'm going to start with Brandon on what does he think about his free agency, his draft class overall.
Oh, I think the Ravens did. Well, we didn't have a lot of picks this year. I think we did well in the draft class. Picking up Zay Flowers, obviously another speedster, probably a better Marquise Brown, which obviously did great for Lamar Jackson.
I just,
Going in,
I'm just going to say it. I hope he stays healthier than your wide receiver you picked last year.
Rashad, 2 years ago, Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman. Yeah.
We picked Rashad Bateman 2 years ago, and he ran his mouth in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget that Eric DeCosta is one of the GMs where you don't really want to fuck with it. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna run your mouth." We took the wide receiver in the first round. We took a replacement already. So,
Right.
and the problem is Rashad Bateman has that same injury that Najee Harris has, which is the Liz Frank injury. And the Liz Frank injury is a very bad injury for any kind of player. and that's the issue he's been
It's
battling.
the one that took Kevin Smith away from the Lions, remember? Because he was that big running
Yes.
back that was a powerhouse for UCF. He came in, he was doing good for us, and the same thing happened to him. He had that Liz Frank fracture and was
It's just a really
never
bad.
the same.
It's a really bad injury for the foot.
But at the
It's
same
almost
time,
recurring.
orthopedic surgeon wise, the advancements made in that surgery, it's less
Yeah.
likely to destroy a career than it used to be.
But it can hinder it. It can
But it
hinder
can
it
hinder.
until fully recovered.
Yeah, they have to
Um,
take the proper time off to heal and rehab.
exactly, and so Rashard Bateman being there, I would say our draft class as well. Trenton Simpson, the guy we picked up in the 3rd round linebacker, he was a stud. He was solid. We didn't have a 2nd round
City
pick.
fan. I love Trenton Simpson, and you're gonna
Yeah,
love him.
that kid is a solid one. We picked up pretty much a future Patrick Queen replacement because we're not going to pay. I doubt we pay Patrick Queen. I doubt we do. And we already have Roquan Smith. We're just training another guy to pick up. He's a bigger, faster Patrick Queen. So I think our draft class picked up some offensive linemen. I think our draft class was decent. I was happy with it. First, I'm happy with it. Let's put it that way.
Right. And that
So,
being said, I was high on Pat McQueen. I was hoping he'd be good, and he just hasn't
yeah,
been.
the only one. He's small. He's small. He kind of
He's small
reminds you
for
of
his
Kobe
size.
Dean.
He's a cross between Jacoby Dean and Devin Bush.
Yeah, he just kind of,
With lesser tackling skills, and that's pretty sad considering how Devin Bush, as a 3rd-year starter last year, had less tackles than Malcolm Rodriguez, the middle linebacker rotational guy for the Lions.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I never thought Patrick Queen was a middle linebacker. I always thought he was a will. I never thought he was a middle linebacker. So when we put him in middle linebacker, we almost put too much responsibility in his hands. So when he was failing, I wasn't really surprised. Last year, you put him in a will. Roquan comes in, and he's able to explode, able to be a very good linebacker. So let's see how things go for him. But outside of that, free agency, our draft class, I would like to have more picks. I would like to have more size at wide receiver, 100%. Why not? Why wouldn't I? But we didn't get that. We got speed. We got some technical guys, and I'm just hoping for the best. So.
Well, the chat isn't coming up that well, and that's kind of irritating. We do have people watching. Ash put in the private chat, "Boo Ravens." That's great, Ash. All right.
Do you know I put that in like?
Can you pick up those ball with 2 hands?
I put that in like 8 minutes ago.
That's awesome.
What did you say?
But Shannon, what about your draft class? What did you think of it overall?
Overall, I would probably give it a B minus.
B minus C plus range?
Yeah.
Because I seen that they didn't attack a couple of holes early they should have.
Right.
And they filled all their needs, but they did them in different spots where it didn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, par for the course. But,
Okay.
I mean,
But at the same time, you got all your key players still there.
Right. And that was important. Having the key guys there. I mean, having the receivers that we have, we signed the tight end from the Vikings. Was it Irv Smith?
Irv Smith Jr.
Oh, let's see. Over under 5 games before he gets injured, right?
Yeah.
He's very injured. He's been a very, very injured career.
Last year, he was injured by preseason game 3.
Well,
that's why they traded for T.J. Hawkinson. Or as I called him while he was in Detroit, T.J. Droppinson.
But that's why I was upset about losing their tight end.
I like Hawkinson.
But
I like him if he'd have been everything he was touted coming out of the draft that year as an extra tackle in the run blocking game. I'd have loved T.J. Hawkinson because that's why he was drafted so high. He was supposed to be the complete tight end. But for 3 years straight, out of 120 players total between offensive linemen and tight ends, he's finished between 110 and 120 every year.
Hey, at least he wasn't Eric Ebron.
No, he dropped about 5% less than Eric Ebron, so I give him that.
Yeah, but he also had more yards than Eric Ebron and touchdowns.
Yeah, he just never had more receptions or yards than Brandon Pettigrew, and that isn't that great of a tight end to be compared to. All right, Ashton. What? Oh, I think we got our guy back here. I just heard a beep. Bear us a second. God bless it.
Hey, man.
Yep, there he is. And better late than never, we have our resident Browns fan in.
I'm coming, guys.
You made it.
Ow.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, first I got to ask you before we get to Ashton, because we're already up to draft classes. But first, I want to ask about your key free agent acquisitions this offseason. Who did you like, and who was your biggest loss?
Biggest loss, I'd probably say the biggest acquisition easily Moore, but the biggest loss was probably JJ, man. He was underrated, John Johnson, and I know him in person.
You're talking about the outside linebacker opposite Myles Garrett, right?
No, the safety, number 43, came from the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
pretty.
he was solid.
He was pretty
solid.
decent. You know, he didn't get credit because of Joe
you
Woods,
lost that, right? And you lost the one outside linebacker, your other pass rushing threat.
Clowney, but he was
No,
trash.
not Clowney. I'm not talking about Clowney. I wasn't talking about Clowney. He was a DN, your outside linebacker. There was an outside linebacker you guys lost the free agency to.
What was his name? You know?
I'll have to look it up. You give me a minute. But
yeah, I want to know that actually.
All right, so I'm gonna ask.
It's not Ogunjobi, is it?
Because he's a Steeler now, I believe.
Yeah,
I think it's Ogunjobi.
Yeah, it was Ogunjobi.
He went to the Steelers.
He
is an athlete. He is like a complete machine of an athlete for the Browns that last season.
Yeah, look, you put him opposite TJ Watt, they got two manimals on each side of that defense.
And you got Cam Hayward.
And in the
Cam Hayward's getting over age.
And
Cam Hayward's got 2 more years left.
Man, how long is he gonna play, man? I'm tired of Hayward.
He's trying to play as long
as 2 more years left.
He's trying to play as long as Tom Brady, but he doesn't keep himself in as good a shape.
And then Highsmith and the Steelers are arguing now about contract. They're probably going to trade Highsmith.
Now you know what it is, Jeremy. He's trying to outplay his brother.
Oh, okay.
They drafted his brother like 2 years ago, a tight end.
Oh yeah, that's right. And both of them are Ironhead's kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both what?
Ironhead, Craig Hayward's kids.
Yes.
All right, Ashton, what about your draft class? What did you think of the draft class for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
In the draft, they nailed it with a left tackle, Broderick Jones from Georgia, to protect Kenny. And it was also pretty good with Joey Porter Jr., who if he's anything like his dad, will be a hard-nosed playmaker.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Good.
The only thing
sign him first.
The only thing that Joey Porter Jr. has to work on, and this is just from somebody who watched him as a Big Ten fan, is he's really good in zone, and he's just okay in press man coverage. He needs to work on his press man coverage. It's the same problem that the Lions had with Amani Oruwariye. Highly touted cornerback, was at one time considered a first rounder, but due to some allegations that mysteriously disappeared right after the draft, he fell to the 5th round and into our laps. He was great for 2 years. We turned into a man coverage team, and it messed with his head so bad he could never come back. So that is what Joey Porter Jr. needs to work on. As far as a tackler, he's probably one of the most solid tackling corners that came out in the draft, and he will do good to set the edge in the run game. He's the polar opposite of what Jeff Okudah was. Jeff Okudah was good in man and bad in zone.
True.
What happened to him? Is he's with the Lions still?
No,
we traded him for 2 5th-round picks.
They traded him
already?
Yeah, we
He's on the
traded
best
him
secondary.
He went to Atlanta. He went to
He's on
Atlanta.
the best secondary in the NFL.
Yep.
Atlanta is stacked in the secondary. Wow.
Yeah, because they got Jesse Bates from the
And
Bengals.
Terrell.
AJ
And AJ Terrell is their one. So now Okuda doesn't have to go up against elite wide receivers, and you watch, he'll thrive in that man coverage
Okay.
package they got. I'm calling it now. He's a big loss, but he's not a big loss because he wasn't the complete corner. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't have enough games in to be developed like he should have. Even though that
Well,
was his
yeah.
third season, he only played 20 games.
Yeah, because of injuries.
Right.
Yep.
So you absolutely nailed it. I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be a great fit. You guys did well addressing your line with Broderick Jones, and then you added another center. I think it was in the third or fourth round, and then you
And they
also
got
added a
Darnell
guard.
Washington.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
Darnell
Guard
Washington, the
option.
tight end.
Yep. And Darnell Washington, who is a great run blocking and pass blocking tight end. He's suspect hands. So, but if he gets the ball in his hands and he catches it, he's a threat to take
He's
it to the
dangerous.
house.
He's
That
massive too.
offense is
What's
getting
the?
better. and
Oh,
better.
they got that. They got that D lineman from Wisconsin too.
Yes, the guy I wanted, the D tackle.
Their offense is getting better and better each year.
So
Look at,
when
dude,
Cam Hayward, because now that he's aging, he is going to get gassed and come off the field more often. They got somebody that has that same type of motor out of Wisconsin. I love that kid. He's amazing.
Yeah, they got him in like the third or fourth round too.
Yeah, I mean, he fell. And look at Adewale, who was supposed to be a second rounder. He fell to what, the fourth or fifth round?
mhm.
The kid out of Northwestern, the guy that's big enough to play D tackle but plays DN because he's like 285 or 290. Yeah, that was a guy I wanted the Lions to grab too. But I am not upset with Brian Branch. I am definitely not upset with our first pick in the third round, with it being a guy that was supposed to be the Heisman winner before he got hurt, Hendon Hooker. So we went over that. Wow, what about your draft class there, Gary? What did you think of the Browns draft class?
Man, it's always hard to tell with us, obviously being a Browns fan, until I see it. I'll be at the training camp practices, the ones open to the public. So I don't really know. I hope it's good, but we're still weak at linebacker, man. I don't like our linebackers. I wanted
Right.
one. And we
The
didn't
one you
take one.
lost made it worse. You know what I'm saying? You got worse by subtraction.
We're weak in the middle, yeah, man. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And they were hurt. All of them were ended the season on IR last year. Taki, Phillips, all the guys they kept get hurt. So, and Walker, I don't really like him. He's a good tackler, but he can't cover.
Yeah.
I watched
Right.
him get tore up in space before he got hurt. So
Yeah,
we
the only
definitely got
line,
the weakest linebackers in the division, in my opinion, out of the four
no,
teams.
the only linebacker I like on the Browns is JOK.
You feel me? He's like a hybrid, you know.
And he's a
He can
little
play
guy
safety.
too. He's a little
He's
guy too.
small.
He could play viper
But
safety.
he's
He
good
could
though.
play strong safety or
Yeah, he's
middle
a football
linebacker.
player. Y'all know what I mean. But he's
Right.
not prototypical Ray Lewis linebacker
No.
size.
And that's another reason why I love the fact that 18 we grabbed Jack Campbell. He is the biggest linebacker the Lions have had since Chris Spielman.
Jack
Damn.
Campbell's a big linebacker.
Where'd he go?
Kid is
What
a
school?
Iowa.
Iowa.
Oh, yeah, they
Iowa.
always got some big boys.
Linebacker and
Damn.
tight end U. I mean, there's Penn
That dude is
State, and then there's
massive.
Iowa, then there's LSU. That's where all the good linebackers come out of. You know?
Clemson's had some decent linebackers too. Don't forget about
Clemson
us.
puts him out.
Yeah, the Clemson's had a couple here and there, but I'm talking about historically.
Oh yeah, historically,
Historically,
no, you're right.
those three are the big linebacker schools.
When I
Yeah.
think of Clemson, I think wide receivers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are
Wide receivers and a couple of quarterbacks.
And well, Watson, I'm a Cleveland.
Yeah, I know.
Lawrence.
I know. I said a couple of quarterbacks, and I was including him in that because Watson, when he's on his game, he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
When he's off his game, as we saw at the end of last year, he's a bottom 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
But
He just
I'll tell
spent
you-
too much time out. He spent
Yeah.
too much time out, and now
Pressure
he'll
on
be
him,
back in the
man. That
yeah,
Russ
while he was
over.
suspended, he just went to massage parlors instead of calling him
Man.
to the house.
That dude loves the masseuse, don't he?
I'm
Good for him,
surprised you
man.
ain't. I'm surprised you ain't said nothing about my name yet, Jeremy.
I didn't even look at it yet. What's it say there, Taylor? And tell me.
It says your
Favorite
favorite
massage
massage
parlor.
parlor.
And when Deshaun Watson visits Michigan, he goes to Bay City to visit the Green Spa.
I thought he would go to Bay City for new tires. Your guys' tires.
I don't work in Bay City anymore. I'm in Flint doing tires. I'm talking about in Bay City, they have a place called the Green Spa where a happy ending comes with every massage.
Damn.
Hey, where's that at?
Bay City, Michigan.
Flint's dangerous too, man, isn't it?
Flint can be, but any big city, and when I say big city, any city with more than 500,000 people, you're gonna have a bad element in it.
So Flint's bigger than Detroit?
Metro Detroit has actually lost enough population where they actually have less than Flint.
Oh wow, damn! I didn't know that. I've been to Detroit. I haven't been to Flint.
But
Okay.
because they lump in Pontiac, Royal Oak, Wyandotte, and all those little suburbs in,
Gotcha.
as a gross, Detroit's bigger. All right, now we're going to get to the fun part. Floor and a ceiling on what you'd be comfortable with predicting wins for your teams. Ashton, the Steelers, what is your floor for this? The minimum amount of wins you expect, and then what is your maximum? Realistically, looking at your schedule.
Well, just say 9 wins is a floor because we know Mike Tomlin don't lose more than 8 games.
I think the max wins the Steelers are probably going to get is 12. 12 and 5.
So you're thinking between 9 and 12? 9 is a floor, right? And then 12 is the ceiling? Okay. Shannon, Bengals?
Yeah, I would say between 10 and 14. 10 being the lowest. 14 being
Brandon?
Realistically, I would say the Ravens going 12-5
at the best.
Max.
Right.
At the best. But my thing is this: I always got to take into account for divisional games. The AFC North just battle so much. One could be the best team in the whole league and lose to one of us just because that's just how we are.
Right. We all play each other hard, just like our division does.
Exactly. So let me at least count for 3 losses there. I'll give each team a win, right? And I'll count for 2 bullshit losses against some bullshit teams. So I'm gonna give each team a win, and I'll do that. So I'll take the 5. Lowest, I'm going 10 games. I'm not going lower than 10 games.
Right. I agree, man.
The caveat is as long as Lamar stays healthy.
Yeah. So
good receivers too.
Yeah, you got better receivers. You got a good O-line. Health is the main concern on your O-line and with your running back room, in my opinion. So quarterback, running back, and until he starts completing over 63% of his passes, I'm going to say Lamar Jackson is the best running back that can throw a football.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say that when Joe Burrow hasn't broke his single season passing touchdown record. You can call him a running back all you want.
I know.
But he still has like Lamar Jackson won MVP throwing 36 touchdowns to a Walmart crew of receivers.
I know he did.
At the time, Mark Andrews was a rookie when he did that.
Yeah,
he was a rookie when he did that.
And he had 10
exactly.
of them.
Exactly. He had 10 of them. But I mean, the rest was Seth Roberts. Fucking Willie Snead.
Seth Roberts, former Lion.
Wasn't their top receiver Willie Snead?
Ever. Willie Snead was the top receiver that year. So I'm saying, like,
yeah, man, he sucks.
He had a bunch of fucking bums he was throwing touchdowns to.
I know.
So if Lamar Jackson,
I like to give him a little crap just because I can.
Yeah. Of course, but I also like the acquisition of Todd Monken to the offense. I like to see how he was. Even for let's go with the Browns. When he was on the Browns, he gave Baker and Odell the best last 3 seasons. Todd Monken really can be that guy. He left because of the Browns organization.
Your OC.
Understandable.
I like.
So I understand it. I would like to see 12. Realistically, I'm not taking less than 10. Floor wise, John Harbaugh's another guy. He's had 1 losing season his entire coaching career. So 9 would be that floor, but I'm going with 10.
Yep. And that was the year they got Lamar.
Exactly. So
He only had one losing year. I didn't know that.
One losing season. One losing season.
Damn.
That's a year.
He's,
That's a year. Yep.
so you guys
'Cause-
got two coaches that don't like to lose in
No.
that division.
No,
You got
don't.
Mike
Both
Tomlin
two top 10 coaches.
and you got John Harbaugh.
Yep.
I say they top 5, bro.
So
Both
so
of
and
them.
then
In the
now people say
AFC
this.
all day they're a top 5 coach.
Well, in
add
AFC they're
everybody.
in AFC they're 1 and 2. They're like 1 and 2, arguably, and it's argued to your preference in the AFC North. In the
And
AFC
until
itself,
he lost,
Andy Reid's number 1. Yeah,
Yep.
Andy Reid's number 1, and then
And
you
until
got
he lost
Coach
Tom Brady,
Harbaugh.
number 1 was Bill Belichick.
Of course, of course,
Belichick and Andy.
of course. Actually,
But he's still
I
top
still
5.
recognize Bill Belichick. I still
He's still
recognize Bill
top 5.
Belichick.
That's what I'm saying. Who y'all got over them? I say they
I
top
still
5
recognize Bill
in the
Belichick as
whole
top
league.
5. I do. I still
Yeah,
recognize the top 5.
I have him at 4 or 5 myself.
Yeah, I still recognize the top 5. Mike Tomlin
Andy
to me is
Reid,
amazing.
Tomlin,
So
and John Harbaugh. That's the 3.
Shanahan might get in here. Shanahan's a great coach too. But
Hey,
that's my 5 there.
don't forget Sean Payton's back in the league.
Yeah.
He is. Good point.
listen,
Good point.
man.
I think that's
forgot
the
about
other one
man.
that's going to end up being a top 5 coach.
I like
in
Sean
division,
Payton.
If he
in the conference.
transformed Russell Wilson back to MVP for him, he gonna be
I like
coach of
Sean
the year.
Payton, but he ain't won since Hurricane Katrina. Then let's be real here, all right?
As a Steelers fan, I can say that Lamar Jackson is kind of good at being a running back.
I love him.
The Steelers
I
are the
love
only
this
team that
kid.
can talk trash against Lamar. The Steelers are the only team I would give breaks to talk trash against Lamar.
Yeah,
the only
because
team.
you know what's funny? Because even in the
You can't beat
MVP
'em.
year, even in the MVP year, they could not beat the Steelers.
You can't beat 'em.
They were
You
0
can't-
2. 0 2 that year. They've been 1 and 1. 0
RG3
2.
had to beat him. It was RG3 that beat him. It wasn't Lamar.
Right.
It was RG3.
Wow.
All right. Now we're
Yeah.
to Gary. What is your floor and ceiling for the Browns?
Yeah, I'm kind of with my Baltimore man. So if Stefanski gets anything under 10, he's gone. And the best I had was 13-4. You know, splitting the division. We play the Seahawks. That's a tough spot to win. So I had them losing there. That was my best case scenario.
Okay.
Would be 13. You know what I mean? I don't see him running the
Now
table.
it's
or nothing
time
crazy.
for me and the other 2 guys to talk about it. Where do you got the Steelers, Jordan? Where do you have their floor and their ceiling?
Well, their floor is honestly in this division that, like, I hate to say it, but I think their floors or their ceiling, my bad. I think their ceiling's the lowest in the division. I think they got the lowest ceiling in the division, but I think I'm going to say they're an 8 to 10 win team this year.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to say they're a 9 to 11 win team.
okay. I had them between 9 and 12 the whole time.
Damn.
I'm not saying, and the reason why is just because Tomlin is that dog of a coach. He will get the best out of his players. That's all I got to say about it. All right, now I'll start off and talk about the Bengals. And Shannon, you're pretty much spot on, except I'm going to go one less. I'm going to say between 10 and 13. I don't think they'll get to that 14th win because they got to play Kansas City again this year. And you guys know that's rough on you guys. If they were coming to your house all day, I'd say Bengals win that game.
Yeah.
Will, what do you think of the Bengals?
I'm going to say 11 to 13 wins.
Okay. Jordan?
I'm going to say same as you, 10 to 13.
Okay. Now we're to the Raiders. All right, no, Ravens. Excuse me. Ravens. I went Raiders. I don't know why I said Raiders. They're dog water this year.
They are.
They lost everybody and got Jimmy G. The only thing that's going to do is attract more women to the stadium because he's porn star Jimmy.
We're traveling to Vegas sometimes.
All right, Jordan. What do you think of the Ravens? What's their floor? What's their ceiling?
Well, this might sound crazy, but I have the Baltimore Ravens win the division, and I think this Lamar's gonna be MVP conversation if he stays healthy this year. You got to think about the weapons he has. He has Odell Beckham Jr. He finally has a true number 1 wide receiver. even if OBJ ain't the OBJ he was 5 or 6 years ago, you're still probably going to get 900 to 1,000 yards out of OBJ. You got Mark Andrews, who's like right behind Travis Kelce. He's right there with George Kittle for 1A, 1B, next best tight end in football. Then you got freaking Zay Flowers was my favorite receiver in the whole draft, personally. So you got him, and then you got Bateman's now kind of the third option. He pretty much was the number one option last year, the last 2 seasons really, and now he's going to be the number 3 wide receiver in that offense. So that's a big difference. So I think Baltimore's going to win the division at 12-5. Is my prediction.
Okay.
But I
Well,
say their floor is 8 wins though.
yeah, because if the injuries
If
go
Lamar
off
gets
the
hurt,
rail,
yeah.
like if the injuries go off the rail like they have the past couple of years for the Ravens, it may be a bad season.
That's for any team.
And that's any team. Yeah, you're right. But
Any team.
Yeah.
It's any
for
team.
some reason, the most injured teams in the NFL the last 3 years, it's been the Ravens, the Lions,
Titans.
and the Titans. Those 3 get hit so hard every year. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I don't know what. I don't. They
Mhm.
keep changing strength and conditioning coaches. They keep changing nutritionists, and it hasn't worked. I think.
well, the
I think
Ravens remember the Ravens that 1 year, like 3 of their running backs tore their ACL in like a week.
Yeah,
before
we had no running
before the
backs.
season even started, they
Yeah,
were
that's what I'm
they
saying.
were signing grocery clerks, baggers, whatever they could.
They were
We
they were
had
signing.
Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray running
I'm
around.
about to say they were signing guys from 2016 in
You
their
guys
prime.
tried to get a hold of
Yeah.
Lamar Miller out of retirement, if I remember
We
right.
yeah.
You guys
We
brought him
called
in.
Todd Gurley. We called Todd
Called Ty.
Gurley. We called everybody, man. Can you
Yeah,
still
but
run the ball?
Todd Gurley has knees older than mine, and I'm 52.
Yeah. It didn't matter at that point. We were like, listen, man, if you could tote that rock, you can go get a paycheck.
All I need is 3 yards and a cloud of dust.
Because didn't they have Le'Veon Bell too?
Yes.
For 2 weeks.
Yes.
For 2
He
weeks.
He's
scored
a
a
rapper
touchdown.
now.
He scored a touchdown, and then the next
He's a
week
rapper
he
and a
couldn't
boxer.
get a yard.
Yep.
Will, what is your floor and ceiling for the Ravens?
8 to 10 wins.
Woo, harsh. I have them at the 9 to 11 range myself, because you guys have a hard schedule, and that's
No, you got to check that out again. We have a very light schedule.
your games on the
We have
road
one
is
of the
where
lightest.
yeah, you have your lightest at home because the AFC gets the 9 games. I'm talking about in your 8 road games, you got a couple tough ones in there. And that's where I see your losses coming, is on the road.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just being as real as I can, but I have them at that 9 to 11 range. Ooh, now I get to start us off with the Browns, right? That's where we're at.
What I want to hear.
I got the Browns between 8 and 11 wins. I think they can get to 11 if Deshaun Watson, and this is a big if Deshaun Watson gets to his form that he was as last year with the Texans, because the Browns do have a better defense than what the Texans had that year. Even with their key losses, I think their defense is better than that Texans defense.
For sure.
So, Will,
8 to 10.
8 to 10. Jordan?
6 to 11.
Oh, so you
If
either
we
got
get-
it going completely off the rails or going really good. There is no
Because
in between with them.
and it's gonna come down to one man and one man only. Well,
Deshaun
I'll say
Watson.
two. I'm gonna say 2 guys. I'm gonna say it comes down to Deshaun Watson and it comes down to Kevin Stefanski. Because you can't because all these Browns fans can't blame Joe Woods no more. He's done gone.
He's gone. Yep.
So now so the defense should be better with having a better defensive coordinator, and now you got Deshaun Watson has a whole off season with the team and knows the playbook. The rush should all be gone now. So I'm gonna say 6 to 11. And I still think Nick Chubb's the best running back in football.
All right, so who's got the latest NFL news? What's hot going on in the NFL? Let's talk about that before we sign off today.
DeAndre Hopkins is still a free agent for some reason.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook is too.
Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel
Elliott.
I'm not surprised in Ezekiel Elliott. I'm not.
Neither am I.
Ezekiel Elliott's Kareem Hunt. I'm surprised in 100%. 100%.
Right, because he is that all-around type of back. He can receive.
I just
he can
saw
run.
Kareem, man. He might not be signing nowhere, I don't think.
I think,
Okay.
in my opinion, if you're Elliott, you need to realize you're going to be a third down back.
Or it's
That-
gonna take a really bad injury to like a star running back on the team, and they don't.
So do y'all like Tony Pollard? You think he can last the whole season?
I
No.
do.
I don't.
No,
I don't.
no.
I
After
don't.
that
I
broken
never
leg,
did.
after that broken leg, he will never be the same. He's going to be gun shy running through that pocket.
People forget Tony
So they'll
Pollard
have a
was a
committee
scat back.
again.
He was never
Yeah.
going to be the main guy.
No, I
Dallas
know.
is more of a pass team anyway with their receivers.
Yeah.
Here's
Oh wait, and that's one I got for you ceiling and floor guys too, all of you. So what y'all think of the Jets? All this hype with Aaron Rodgers. What y'all got them at?
it really depends which Aaron Rodgers you see. If you see the Aaron Rodgers from 2 years ago, their ceiling is off the chart. If you
Yeah.
see the Aaron Rodgers from last year, it's dog water. They'll be lucky to get 8 wins.
I will say the
I'm
Jets will
being
be the
honest.
Jets. Jets will be the Jets regardless of the end of the day to me. I love their coach. I'm a big fan of their coach. I think he was great when he was a Niners defensive coordinator. I think they're a very good defensive team. They got one of the best secondaries in the whole entire league with Sauce Gardner. I forget the guy on the other side of him. They got a great defense.
DJ Reed.
And they
DJ
got
Reed. Yes, they got the
and
guys
they
like
got
that.
And they got
Who?
Brees Hall coming back, which helps.
Yes, so I mean they have all that stuff. They got. I mean, and I like Brees Hall. Love Big Brees Hall. Big Brees Hall
Garrett
fan. But at the end of the
Wilson.
day, the Jets, Garrett Wilson. They got some of Aaron Rodgers brought his pieces over, but I'm not big fans of them.
No, I think the pieces they brought over were just because he was
So y'all
familiar.
still like Buffalo out the East?
Yeah, I think his obviously number one receiver will be Garrett
I
Wilson.
think their
Garrett Wilson will
ceiling
probably be
is
a 12
second
or
place in the
13.
division. I think their ceiling is
Exactly.
second place in the
I
division.
don't. I think the Bills will be number one again, and about behind them will be the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm just
I
saying
just do.
the ceiling
I'm
for
gonna
the
disagree with
Jets.
all you guys. I'm gonna disagree with all you guys as an
Who's number
AFC
one?
East fan. The Miami Dolphins, if they're healthy, if Tua Tagovailoa stays healthy, I'm
That's
gonna
my
say
thing. He's
it.
not going to. He's not going to. He's
Miami
too small.
Dolphins will win the AFC East.
They had
Mr.
the most
Glass.
talented
Okay.
team.
They had him last year before he got that concussion too. They
Be-
did
would.
have the lead.
Because
He's just too small.
here's their biggest thing that nobody's talking about. I think it's one of the most underrated things. Vic Fangio is now their defensive coordinator. He's one of the best top 5 defensive coordinators in football.
True.
Miami,
Very true.
Miami has a talented defense. If Jalen Ramsey can get back to Jalen Ramsey form from 3-4 years ago,
Oh, I forgot about
you got a
Ramsey.
Xavier Howard on the other side and Javon Holland, a good young safety. You're talking about right there with Atlanta for one of the best secondaries in football. Then you got Emmanuel Agba, you got Jalen Phillips. Christian Wilkins is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the middle of that defense. I mean, their linebacker core I don't love, but I mean, they got a good defense. And then, like I said, it's going to be coached better and scheme better with Fangio in there. And then you mentioned on the offensive side, you got, like I said, Tua. You got a good running game with the running backs. You don't. It's more of a committee in Miami, and then you
It
got.
has to be by committee because all of them have legs
Yeah.
made of balsa wood.
Well, and that's kind of the Mike McDaniel 49ers system anyway. They don't really have like a lead back. And then
True.
you got the fastest wide receiver in core in football between Jalen
And
Waddle,
second, Jalen Waddle.
Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle.
Ferrari.
And then
And they
even
picked
like
up another. They drafted somebody else that's supposed to be super fast. Who? They
But
got
even like
somebody else.
their third wide receivers, their slot receivers, Braxton Berrios is more like he's just a burner guy. He has to spin those special
He's
teams.
a better
then
punt and kick returner.
Yeah, and then you got the guy from Dallas that they had last year that didn't stay healthy,
Cedric Wilson.
but he's solid, like
But they
600 yards.
drafted the guy. They drafted like one of the fastest wide receivers in the draft. They drafted one of those guys.
Yeah, they drafted a guy from
I like their coach too.
Tech.
Yeah, he's like one of
Transfer
like the
receiver from
second or
Texas Tech, like-
third fastest guy in the whole entire draft. He's like another burner. They have this speed nonstop on Dolphins. My problem is Tua itself. He just can't stay healthy. Yeah, what?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Yeah.
That's why I said if Tua stays healthy, I think the Dolphins win the AFC East.
Yeah.
As a AFC, I think the Bills are actually talking about Buffalo. Josh Allen declined a little bit last year when they lost. Coach that went to the Giants, Brian Daboll, and the fact that him and
absolutely.
Stephon Diggs are already having riff with the coaches.
And Diggs is
I don't
30
know.
years old. He's turning 30 this year.
And they added
Yeah, but he hasn't shown any
I know
decline.
that
He's still nasty.
Here's a funny take
that
by one
tells
of my
me
Lions
that
fans,
tells me
Aaron
Buffalo's
Rodgers.
gonna try to run it more.
Aaron Rodgers has progressed to get off my lawn guy of the NFL.
Yeah, that is true.
Are we gonna get the Aaron Rodgers? Are we gonna get the Brett Favre Jets Aaron Rodgers?
Well, that'd be funny.
That would be funny.
I think A. Rodgers gonna ball out, man. I think he's gonna ball
think,
out.
you know, he's actually showing up to training camp. That's better than he did the last 2 years at Green Bay.
I'll give him 4,300 yards. That's what I'll give him.
If Rodgers sucks in New York, Jets are just terrible with working with quarterbacks because look at Geno Smith, for example. He was at all the time in New York. Everybody, why is Geno Smith still in the league? And then last year he wins comeback player. He's like a top 10 quarterback.
Here's what I got to say about Eugene Cyril Smith. Last year he earned the respect of everybody, and his full name to be said, Eugene Cyril Smith. Now, if he regresses back to Geno Smith, Seattle will be dog water this year.
I don't see him being the Geno Smith he was last year.
I don't
see him being that.
With those new receivers?
I don't care. Even with Smith and Jigba. I don't care.
Damn.
I don't care.
I think he'll outthrow Lamar for sure.
Wait.
You are high if you think that he's going to outdo Lamar this season.
Smith can manage to maintain.
He outthrew him last year.
He'll listen.
Wait, everybody else. All the starters played all year.
Lamar. I'm not worried about yards. Yards don't matter for Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
He wins. He's the most winningest quarterback in the league, even higher than Pat Mahomes.
Except in the playoffs. Except when he gets to the playoffs.
You're the Browns. You haven't seen the playoffs in the last 20 years. Stop worrying about
what we won in 2020. We won in 2020 with Baker.
As much as I hate to say it, Ashton, the Steelers were great record-wise in 2020, but playing-wise, they weren't that good, and that's why they lost to the Browns in that playoff in 2020.
That was a crazy game.
Hold on. 2020, Lamar won in 2020. What are you talking about?
No. The Steelers won that division because they went 11-0.
But Lamar also 2020, is that the year the Ravens are hurt really bad?
Yeah, that's the year they were hurt.
I thought it was 21.
Bro.
All right, yeah, well, we won in 2019. Lamar won a game in 2019. Y'all won a game with Baker. Ravens won a game with Lamar against Tennessee.
There he is.
The Browns have never even seen anything else but that one playoff win. Don't worry about the Ravens doing the postseason.
Yeah, my phone died, y'all.
That's all I got to hang my hat on, bro. What you want from me?
Yeah, let him have his moment.
Hey, Baker gone now, bro. He got ran out of town.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Baker was never your problem.
Man, what? I said the same.
Baker was never your problem.
No, it was
coaching
Stefanski.
But,
it was who was the coach before Stefanski? Kitchens, right?
Kitchens.
Yeah, Freddie Kitchens. He had that one great year where y'all did good, and then he fell apart. He got full of himself.
Yeah, he thought he was fucking Shanahan.
He thought he was the next version of Bill Belichick.
Actually, I wanted Baker. I really wanted Baker to go to the Niners. I didn't want him to go to the Rams that year.
I didn't want him to go to the Rams either. I
wanted to see him. I wanted to see him go to the Niners.
I got a question. You guys know what team Tyrod Taylor's on this year?
Isn't it the Giants?
Because I noticed like the last 7 years, every team he goes to, that quarterback turns out to be better that year.
I want to say it's the Giants, right? Daniel Jones back up.
Because that was how it was last year. Daniel Jones had his best year on the Giants last year.
I forgot about Tyrod Taylor. We had him too. You funny.
Man, we drafted him. The Ravens drafted him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Every team he's been on the last 6 years, that quarterback did good. Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield,
Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I mean, he legit got his lungs punctured, so Justin Herbert could play.
All right, parting shots. Ashton, tell us about where people can find your podcast and what nights you're on.
People can find my podcast on ASPN Ashes Sports Podcast Network. And today I actually made a shirt that looks like it's been by a 2-year-old.
That's awesome.
I like it.
Except it reads backwards to you. But this does say ASPN. Let's go.
Nice.
I like it.
And then I also made this It says ASPN
Nice.
and has one strip of paint.
Nice.
I like it.
All right. Shannon, we know we can find you here when you can show up.
Yeah.
You've had a couple months off. It's summertime. I get it. News slows down, and it's hard on some people to come and talk football in the middle of summer, especially July. Here it is, July 12th, and we're talking football. How great is that?
It's there right around the corner.
I mean, you got
8 more Sundays. 8 more Sundays. We got preseason football. Come on.
That's great. That's crazy.
Hey, like 1 more week, or 2 more weeks, we got training camp football.
Yeah, then the news is going to start coming out hot and heavy for every team.
Yep.
All right, Gary, do you do any other podcasting, or is this your first time?
This is actually my first time, man, but I'm thinking about starting one up, so I'll definitely keep y'all informed. I enjoy it.
Okay. Brandon, what about you? Have you ever done this before?
Nope.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'll come back again.
All right. If you want, I will. I'll put you guys on my guest list to come on during the season. I can have up to 10 guests, or 9 guests, I should say, because I'm in here every time. Ain't no choice. Yeah. But going forward, when it starts getting closer to the season, I start paying attention to who's been cut, who got hurt, that type of news in the preseason. And give us a couple of other topics to talk about. I like to actually talk about the news, the meat stuff. I don't like to get into the whole rumors thing, because rumors are just what they are, rumors. If I wanted to hear rumors, I'll go into a bingo hall with a bunch of old ladies.
So next week's the last one, right, on the division?
Yeah, next week is my division, the NFC North. Woo, that's going to be fun, and it's easy for me to get that because I belong to an NFC North group where we just shit talk each other all day.
Let me ask you a question before we leave. What's the scariest team in the North right now? In the NFC North.
In the NFC North, right now, because of the unknowns on how good they can be with what they added to it, I'm going to say the Bears are the biggest unknown scary part. But as far as the way they ended the year last year, it would have to be the Lions.
Golf played good last. Damn good last.
I want to say the Vikings still.
They lost 4 all pros on that defense and replaced them with rookies.
Yeah,
and we took 2 of them.
Yeah, but y'all going.
And they might be losing a 5th. Danielle Hunter wants out.
Yeah, the Ravens are making a play at Danielle Hunter.
And they're gonna lose Harrison Smith in a couple of years.
Damn, the Ravens don't even need them, bro. Y'all got stacked on defense.
No, we'll send a Daffy Oway out.
You know how the Ravens love them 32-year-old defensive players. I mean, look at
Danielle Hunter. You know what? Yeah, he's 29. He'll be 30 come season time. So he'll be if you guys will take that, let him be there 2 years and be a 32-year-old linebacker. I know that's how y'all do.
I'm gonna say they went after Justin Houston when he was like 34.
All right,
he was 36. He was 35 when we got him, but it was like we picked him up. We needed something else.
Tell everybody where they can find you at.
You guys can find me on Sideline Sports, my podcast called Basket Bros. You guys can find me here on Wednesday nights with Jeremy. And
Okay. Jordan, are you going to be starting up your podcast again?
Yep, I am going to be starting up on a YouTube channel. It's going to be called Patriots Media. I'll have mostly Patriots, but I mean, it'll be all NFL as well. So, and then I'll be on here. And I'll also be doing streams on the Thomas's his Facebook group. So if you guys follow Sports Talk with Thomas Dallin, be in that.
And my buddy Eric Dalton to Ashton, he wants you to go on my YouTube channel in the chat and post your link, so that way people can follow you. All right. All you got to do is go to Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. If you type in Kneecap Biting, I'm the 3rd or 4th thing that comes up. You'll see this ugly mug sitting there. I have a face for radio.
I'll just tell my mom to do that.
Okay, no problem. And I am going to talk about me. I am currently an editorialist about the NFL and the Detroit Lions for the Motor City Tribune, which is owned by the South Florida Tribune. I also have my channel, which you guys are all on today, the Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. I am also a part of Sideline Sports, and I'm a part of Let's Talk Sports. Let's Talk Sports, I do 2 shows a week, Friday night at 8 and Sundays at 2 p.m., doing interviews with other podcasters, soon to be getting some former NFL and other professional athletes on to talk to, and I can't wait for that because I look up everything because I like to talk. I don't want to just talk about what they did as a player. I like finding out what their hobbies are, what they like to do, what is their family life like. I want to know about the guy behind the mask because everybody always talks about what they did on the field when they played. I want to talk about the guy behind the mask.
Yep.
And
it'd be a good idea to do one day on here.
what's that?
A sport, NFL trivia. Like, get a bunch of us on here and do an NFL trivia day. That'd be cool.
I'm
that'd be
going to
sweet.
start doing a Tuesday trivia night because I go 5 days a week once the season starts because the news is hot and heavy. You can go every day a week. We could do random trivia about the NFL on Tuesday nights. We
I'm
can do a
down.
half hour talking news and then a half hour of talking trivia. What do you guys think?
I'm down.
Remember during
I'm down.
COVID, they had like a game every night. It seemed like
Mm-hmm.
they had a
Yeah.
game on Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday.
And how about that? The NFL is taking over Christmas Day now and moving NBA a little bit into the back seat because
Yep.
they get more viewership.
You know,
Yeah.
But it's been great talking to you. It's time for me to end the show because my publisher just sent me the link to go to the next one. So I'm going to end my show the same way I always do. I would love every one of our viewers and my guests to try every day to be a better person than you were the day before because that's the only way to leave this world a better place. It starts within yourself. This has been Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. Tune in Friday for the Lions Fan Cave Chat. And have a great evening, everybody.
Go to your favorite